And we are back. Love y'all to pieces. Appreciate you. If y'all see me bend my neck down like this, or you see me do a little turn, I'm trying to speak into the microphone as clear as possible because the arm on my microphone broke. But we're not hiding nothing from the people. Bryan is great content. So if me and you get into an argument and I got to come way down here to scream at you, the people may think that's entertaining. So we'll let you know. We're doing all right. We love y'all to pieces. Breaking down 49ers defense today. Bryan, me and you kind of agree that this is where the superpower of the 49ers are pretty much anyway. They could be hurt on offense all they want, but we still can't score on these guys. And I think the common theme of the last few games that the Cowboys have played against the 49ers is that, we'll end up scoring only 17 points, or we'll score 19 points, or even if they score a bunch of points, we'll only score just a little bit. So, we only got blown out one time by their offense in these last few games, but the common theme is that we have a hard time scoring on these dudes. Bryan, you pretty much feel like that's the case?
Yeah, I do. They tend to be very aggressive in the secondary with the way they play their coverage.
Sure.
And even though the metrics will tell you they play a lot of zone coverage, though, when they play press or when they get up on you, Dallas has a hard time getting away from that.
Sure.
And so they make it very difficult. They've got a Mike linebacker and Fred Warner that they can play in coverage.
Yeah.
He's really good around the line of scrimmage, sideline to sideline guy. They've always seemed to have somebody that can rush the passer.
Yeah.
And now you're dealing with we all know about dealing with Nick Bosa. Seems like every week Dallas has had to deal with a quality pass rusher, and I think Floyd opposite him has been a really good get for them. 4-man pressure, quality linebacker, Greenlaw being out hurts them.
Yeah.
It hurts them. Safeties, there's been some struggles there. They got a missile in that Mustafa, but they give up plays in the middle of the field.
Sure.
The problem is you're not good enough playing in the middle of the field to take advantage of that right now.
Yeah.
Maybe that will change coming out of the bye, but right now that's a problem for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's been a team they've been very physical with you. They're very physical with you on defense, and they make it difficult for you to sustain any type of drives.
Bryan, do you think they give up so much in the middle of the field because they try so hard to not give away the big play? Just if you just look at their numbers, and even if you watch the film, Bryan, it's like it's almost like they prioritize not giving up the deep outside the numbers or the deep cross, like the deep cross or whatever.
Right.
But they'll let you get busy, right around the middle, 9 to 12 to 15 yards or whatever, right? It's like they'll let you have that, but they don't want to let you get it all in one play, Bryan. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I do, like I said, I feel like their safety play has not, when you start to talk about the, Hufungas and guys like that, I mean, they've had some guys that are really, are good players back there. I mean, they've done a pretty good job of over the years when playing Dallas. They've had guys back there at safety that can actually play. And then, you look at, Ward and Lenore and those guys at the corner, they make it tough. But to your point, I think that the young, just the fact that maybe a little bit some inexperience at the safety spot is why you've had some problems there. I think Brown, the safety that plays opposite is the one that's had really the most problems.
Sure.
People have figured out how to get him involved in coverage, and it's been a little bit of a liability. I think there's some inexperience back there, but I think, and I'm going to say something about, Nick Harris again. I know I mentioned Nick yesterday. We did a broadcast. I do this show with Nick on, Cowboys Break, and Nick was talking about, he felt like kind of the 49ers pass rush goes as Bosa goes. And, a lot of times when you don't have, when the pass rush is good, it's tough to throw the ball on these guys.
I'll tell you why, Bryan. I'll tell you why. Because Javon Hargrave, when he was healthy, was like a top sack defensive tackle pressure getting dude. And he's been hurt. And I think that they've been missing him greatly. Please finish, please.
Yeah, I think that to me, you look at when I watch the 49ers play, I'll say they have something with this Givens guy.
Sure.
This, with their backup, Kevin Givens. He was a guy that was kind of a rotational player,
Mm-hmm.
For them, street free agent. And he's come in and, geez, his career's been 4.5 sacks. Well, this year he's got 3.5 sacks. And you're kind of thinking, well, this is why the 49ers are able to rush 4. They got 14 sacks off 4-man rush.
Sure.
They don't blitz a lot. They don't need to blitz a lot. They got guys that get pressure. They got tackles that can get pressure. They got the edges, of course, to get pressure. It's a hard team to deal with that way. If you're playing 4-man line and, you should have enough to block, but here they are creating opportunities. The problem with Dak Prescott, you look at Dak's numbers. The Cowboys have given up some sacks and 4-man pressure.
Sure.
They have, it's not, the blitz and stuff. We always kind of talk about Dak's ability to make things happen in a blitz situation, and he still can. But damn, they give up sacks and I think 13, 14 sacks and 4-man pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have that, especially when you have 5 blocking and maybe sometimes you have 6 blocking. Can't give up 4-man pressure that into those guys, and
sure.
This team will test you that way.
Bryan, this Kevin Givens character, I saw the same thing and I was surprised because I never heard this character.
Oh, sure, yeah. Who the hell's this guy disrupting everything in the middle?
So I looked him up, Bryan, and his 3 sacks came from Minnesota and 2 versus the Patriots, New England Patriots, right?
Patriots gave up a lot of sacks. Yep.
Bryan, let me just ask you a question, man. And I thought this would be a good year to put to just run with the regular lineup, right? Tyler Smith back at left guard, BB, Zach Martin, Bryan, I'm not saying we should do this because we're not good at it. I'm not saying we should. Right. But Javon Kinlaw, Javon Hargrave, Chase Young was a backup here. Dre Greenlaw, those guys aren't available, Bryan. Do you think that this will be a time? Do you think it'll be appropriate for me to pass a note to Mike McCarthy and say, hey, you want to try to run the ball this week?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you should because that's not who we are. We're really this passing team that lives and dies by number 4. But, Bryan, we normally don't have success running the ball against these guys. Do you think now is a good time to run the ball since the Niners don't have the guys that they normally have whooping us?
If somehow, some way you could turn this into the Pittsburgh game, and I know that's my favorite game to hang a hat on.
It's a great game to hang a hat on, though, Bryan.
It's a great game to hang a hat on because it showed you had a little ability, and I think the Steelers are a good defense.
Sure,
they're 5-2 for a reason. I think they're a good football team. I think they're a good defense. Yeah. And Dallas was able to fight through a lot of adversity, I think, in that game. Not only the travel, the weather problems, the home crowd, all that stuff. And that was a great win for them. That was one of those you go back and you look at, hey, give me the list of great wins you had this year. That one's got me like, that gives me the hope that, okay, I could go to San Francisco and be competitive here. And I kind of feel like that Mike McCarthy, they need to find a way. Now, I went back and watched the Arizona game, and where Arizona was able to move the ball and run the ball. We know what Arizona is. Arizona's pin and pull offense. Yeah. Right. But it's also Kyler Murray pulling the ball and just exposing the hell out of you if you try and go down inside and tackle the back, or you play the handoff and he pulls, and then now he's running for. I mean, there were a couple of times where Connor, they puts the ball in Connor's belly and everybody in the 49ers defensive line collapses on him and he pulls it, and now it's an 18-yard gain or a 15-yard gain. And I would love to see this game, and I don't think he'll do it, Voch, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love to see Dak Prescott try and run the ball a little bit in this game.
Sure.
Sure. If you're going to do that, if you're going to pull some of them, just if Bosa and if Bosa and Floyd and those guys are going to collapse on you, if those guys are going to collapse, then just pull it and run. Yeah. Give it a go. And there you go, right there. Wait till you see the end zone copy of this thing. This thing looks like a negative damn play right off the jump. It looks like a negative. it's going to be a negative handoff, and here we go. The 49ers are going to be playing 2nd and 13 here. But they're going to watch what he does. He's going to pull this ball with everything happening.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, it's going to be, look at that.
With a lead blocker on the back
end. The lead blocker, and they get tight end got just enough of a block, and there's Kyler Murray. See, that kind of stuff, that's difficult to defend. That's difficult. Now, your quarterback is not Kyler Murray.
No.
But maybe a little idea of pulling that ball and running a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, here's Kyler Murray again. Just he's got that kind of that video game ability.
Yeah.
With the way he plays. He's just explosive. He can run. He can get through little gaps. He makes it very difficult. Here you go. Everything. Okay, go back if you could real quick. Look at if you could just swing. Look at the right outside, the far outside guy here. Far on the right side right there. Yeah. Watch what he does. Okay, contain. No contain today. We're going to go down inside. Now watch that thing open up on the outside.
Yeah.
If they're going to do that kind of stuff, Dak Prescott needs to be willing to take some chances here and run the ball a little bit.
Sure.
These teams that find a way to keep drives alive and keep things going, keep things positive, stay ahead of the chains, their quarterbacks run a little bit.
Yeah.
Their quarterbacks, just think of the problems that, and I'm not asking Dak to be Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray, but I'm asking him to, look at this, just pull it.
Bosa was really trying to tear this up.
Yeah,
and look, Brian, this is what's disappointing to me and a lot of other Cowboy fans, right? Is we have these plays.
Oh,
we
sure
have
we do.
we just don't we don't pull them. Dak just doesn't pull. And I would love to ask. I mean, look, we have great media friends, Brian, but just nobody. Mike McCarthy, Voch Lombardi Crown Media. Do y'all just ask Dak Prescott to not pull on the read options? It seems whether the end is crashing towards the back or whether he's sitting down, Dak always hands the ball off, right? Yeah. Is it even in the playbook for him to pull, or is it in there but he just doesn't do it? I would love to know, because a lot of the times it's wide ass open. We just do nothing with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy that to think about, it's just crazy to think that they don't do more of that.
Yeah.
That they don't. They really just don't. So it's I'd love for this game to be a game where we saw maybe Dak Prescott of 2016, 2017, maybe before injury. But they're going to need him to. They're going to need him to try and help this running game if he can. And I'm not asking him to, like I say, be Kyler Murray. I'm asking him to take the ball and run for 7 yards.
Sure.
If it's 7 yards and get down, or 8 yards, get down. Hell, 5 yards, get down. But I'm just positive runs, positive plays. That's all I'm asking. Just asking, So I kind of feel like that, to me, that's where we're at with, Dak. It's unfortunate, because if he were to decide to do that, I think that maybe the running game could be a little bit better. I will say this in running game: if McCarthy's going to try and run the ball, it needs to be Dowdle and Hunter Lipke. Sure. That's where this thing needs to go.
Yeah,
that's where this game needs to go. I'm sorry with Zeke. Folks, I apologize to you, but I also know that I need a Pittsburgh game, and that Rico Dowdle gave me a Pittsburgh game and gave me a win. I need more of that if I'm going to win this thing on Sunday.
I'm not apologizing. So Brian, you would say that Pittsburgh's defense is better than this Niners defense? What would you say? Which defense is better, or which defense matches up better versus
I tell you what,
us?
Dallas caught some huge breaks with some of the guys at Pittsburgh not being in the lineup.
Sure.
With that situation, I mean, you go back and you look at things with them. They were missing their end. They had some guys that were out of the lineup. But
sure.
When you start to talk about, I think San Francisco's linebacker,
yeah,
might be the better one to have to deal with, but
Yeah.
very similar if you're talking about rushing on the edge.
Yeah.
Watt, Bosa, very similar type players. I think it's Highsmith that didn't play in the game.
Highsmith, yeah, Highsmith.
Didn't play in the game.
Yeah.
So, if Highsmith plays in that game, hell, I was watching Pittsburgh play the Jets a little bit, and Highsmith, they couldn't block his ass. So maybe Dallas caught a break there.
Sure.
But I like Pittsburgh's defense.
Sure. Brian, we were both looking at the analytics, man, and we saw the stats about the 49ers and what they give up over the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like this may be our 8th, 7th show talking about this, man. This would be a great time to get Ferguson involved, wouldn't it? This would be a great time to get your all-star tight end going, but it seems like the other teams are making a great effort to try to take him out of the game, Bryan Broaddus. So, man, what do we do to get him going? Like, do we just say, all right, y'all want to take Ferguson away? Fine, take Ferguson away. We just need somebody else. Or do you think we need to just make it a point to manufacture some kind of way to get Ferguson over? Because I think that he's a piece that this offense really has been missing over the past few weeks.
Have no problem with some of the stuff that we've seen with. To me, I'm learning about width. I'm learning about condensed offense.
Okay,
is what I'm learning about.
Sure. And
the Rams and the 49ers play the most condensed offense. Their width of their offense, their formations are about 20 yards wide.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do that so they can get their tight ends and their receivers in blocking positions. I think that's important to them.
Sure.
They got guys that are really good at this. But also, though, what it allows you to do, it allows you to get lost a little bit. And, when you play with condensed, all of a sudden you're running through linebackers and safeties and all kinds of things going on, and guys get lost along the way. Can't tell you how many times George Kittle gets lost running routes because the defense, he's playing tight, or he's playing maybe a wing, or he's playing in line, or they're playing him in a bunch, but it's from a condensed look. And now all of a sudden he's running a route, and there's also this, all this stuff going on, and then he's just wide open running across the field. I would love to see. I remember one time we had he ran a route that Cooks ran behind him to get a first down on a trail, like Cooks trailed him, and you had Ferguson run through it. It kind of cleared, and it allowed Cooks to get open, and then they came back, and I think it's the next week or the following week, and they did something where they ran like CD through and then ran Ferguson behind it, and it's just creating space, And I'm all for anything that creates space for these guys. Your team does not play with a lot of width. Dallas does not play with width. Excuse me, take that back. They play with the most width.
A ton of width, yeah.
They play with I didn't mean to confuse people. I'm sorry there. Dallas plays with the most width of any team in the league, right at almost 27 yards. So 7 yards wider than a lot of teams play. You think, oh, well, spread people out and do this, It really doesn't help Dallas, and that it doesn't. It just doesn't help them. What helps teams is their ability to kind of run out a bunch, to kind of run routes, to pick for each other, to run crossing routes. Those are the things that teams are having success. And you would like to believe that, Dallas could have some success with some crossing stuff and some in-breaking routes, but the quarterback throws it about 52% on those routes. So he throws the vertical seam route well. The stuff that comes across, they either have trouble getting it open, which they don't have a lot of separation from, or they don't connect. And we've seen an interception come across the middle of the field. The ball that Branch got down through the middle of the ball went high, and, they got to pick off and all that. But, Dallas, they just need to be better at creating more opportunities for their guys. If they're not going to separate, and they're not going to be fast enough to separate, and the 49ers do have the same problem.
Sure.
If you look at the metrics, the 49ers don't separate either. Them and Dallas are like, it's hilarious that they both, you think the 49ers have this huge separation, but they do create opportunities. It just seems like they create more opportunities than what Dallas does. But they're Dallas, they struggle with separation. So does the 49ers.
Sure.
But watch this game. The 49ers will separate all day against this secondary.
Wide open stuff.
Sure.
I said earlier that I would go back to the Guyton, Smith, BB Martin lineup.
Yeah.
I think Guyton needs the reps, man. I think you just need to throw him in that hot water. I don't think there's going to be an easy day for him. I mean, maybe when we play like Carolina, that may be an easy little day for him. I was just looking at my little notes on the analytics here. Bosa lines up everywhere. He lines up on both sides. I still. How
about this though? He's more productive as the right end than he is the left end.
Over the left tackle.
Yeah, more pressures, more sacks playing as a right end. And he plays predominantly. I mean, I shouldn't say predominantly. It's almost 50-50 with the left and the right, but he's had more success playing over the opponent's left tackle.
Sure. But besides that, I mean, Leonard Floyd ain't really a slouch neither. You know what I mean? Brian, you think this is going to be a bad day for our tackles, man? Do you think how do we balance? If you're the play caller, if you're if your last name is McCarthy, right? How do you balance the idea of, okay, we can maybe work the ball downfield a little bit, but I got to help these guys because Leonard Floyd and Nick Bosa both whoop ass. Brian, how do you balance that? How would you balance that?
Well, the problem is you and I will get together Monday night after we watch the game film, and then we'll look at the metrics and the game film will tell you that Dallas left their tackles out there 75% one-on-one, or they left their tackles out there 80%. I've seen it done. Seen both tackles. You know, one's at 78 and the other's at 83.
Sure.
You know, you always hope. You always hope that, you know, you could do it through spacing. You could do it through alignment. You could do it through, I mean, I remember Kellen Moore, the first time that Steele ever started was against the Los Angeles Chargers. And it was against at the time, Joey Bosa. And what did they do to Joey Bosa? They did not leave Steele out there one-on-one the whole game.
Sure.
They chipped, they cracked. Let me tell you this. You watch teams like Arizona play against the 49ers. Every chance they get to bring a guy in motion and cut Bosa at the knees, they were doing it.
They did.
Every single time. You know, do you think it's cheap, bad? Yeah, you know, you can call it, hey, it's blocking. But you know what? It slows him up. It slows him up having him to have to play low blocks. So, you know, you feel like that, hey, Dallas, if they want to, you know, the only time that Dallas seems to go like max protection is when they go two-man routes.
Sure.
And they try and take a shot down the field.
Yeah.
They never do anything to put a tight end over there or a back over there or do anything with spacing. Geez, I'd love for them to have an extra tackle. Put a damn, you know, put whatever tackles dress that game. If it's Awesome Richards or whoever, you know, is playing, just line him up over there and make Bosa have to run through people to get to the ball.
The Lions do it. The Lions do it all the time.
Hell yeah. They play with Dan Skipper, and Dan Skipper is nowhere athletic enough to be, but it's just the thought of having spacing over there. You know, it's just the thought of having to deal with a 6'9" or 6'10" offensive tackle.
Yeah.
It seems very simplistic, but to some teams it's very, very hard to do. And I could say, if I'm Mike McCarthy, now people say, well, damn, Bryan Voch, you know, last year, and Steele had 17 pass snaps against this guy, 4 pressures, half a sack.
Yeah.
This guy's got 1 sack against you.
Sure.
They'll probably say we can handle him. Yeah, that's the cavalier approach. Oh, we can handle that guy. We can handle him until it's 4-man pressure and Dak's getting sacked again.
Sure.
You know, how would I handle it? I think like I say, spacing, chipping, you know, just motion across, trying to cut him.
Yeah.
You know, just play with his game a little bit. They played with his brother when he was with the Chargers. Just play with it, you know, just play the same way. Chip, space, chop, whatever you have to do, kind of get him to slow up.
Play caller kind of bothering you a little bit, huh, Brian? I can, you know, like you normally keep it kind of even and like, hey, I'm just going to talk about the game, and I'm just gonna I'm not gonna talk about nobody's job. Like you normally even about this, but the play caller been bothering the shit out you a little bit lately.
Yeah, he has, and I find it a little difficult because a couple of things. When they tell me that they don't practice well, need to get back in there, practice harder. We practice hard, but we just don't, need to get in the books, need to get practice a little better. Our GPS numbers are good. We just need to practice a little better. Okay, fine. I see mistakes. Correctable mistakes. But I also see, I see teams do stuff, and it's not just being creative. It's simplistic stuff. If you're asking your wide receivers to block, okay, whether that's, Tolbert or whoever, Brooks, whoever, when you block them from 7 yards outside, they're not going to get blocks. They're not going to do it. Try and help your team a little bit with some of your play calling. I thought Mike called a pretty damn good game against Pittsburgh. That 3rd and 6 run.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. That kind of stuff, there you go. But there's been too many times where I just feel like the offense has just struggled so much just to move the ball, just to kind of get a first down. It's been a struggle.
Yeah.
And the red zone, don't get me started on the red zone offense. 0.8 yards per carry, not even a yard, 0.8 a carry. Come on, man. No.
Nonsensical Bryan Broaddus. He bothering me too, but if I talked about him all day, we wouldn't talk about the stuff that we came here to talk about. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe some changes happen in the bye week, but they're gonna have to show me before I believe it. But hey, Bryan, good show. Appreciate it. Did you have something for me before we
Yeah, no, I was just curious though, when you looked at San Francisco's defense, I don't feel that they've been good as good as, and I think we talked about it a little bit. I'd like to just get your opinion about that. I just don't feel like that it's that shut down defense. They've had red zone problems. Teams have been able to kind of run the ball, move the ball. They're giving up points. Where do you feel? Are they is Dallas capable, or are they just not? Because it seems like to me that everything that San Francisco is poor in defensively, you're just as poor trying to get it done on that end.
When I watch the 49ers defense, they just don't look as intense as they normally are. So when I say that the defense is going to come in here and shut us down, it's because of our own merit. Like we shoot ourselves in the foot. We don't call great plays or whatever. But if we're operating in a way like we did at the end of last year, I would give us a shot. We're just not operating like that right now. But they're just not getting after the quarterback like they did last year. I mean, they can do it pretty well, but like you said earlier, it's going to live and die by Bosa, to where last year it was like, all right, Bosa could get you, or Lloyd could get you, and Chase Young could come off the bench and get you, right? Or Hargrave in the middle could get you. Kinlaw could have a little day and get you. They don't have a lot of those guys anymore. They got Bosa and they got Floyd. Floyd is good. But that's just what they are right now. I think they're missing Greenlaw a bunch. They're missing Greenlaw a lot. And even though Fred is a guy that's fantastic in coverage, I think teams are purposely looking away from Fred now. Because where they would look away from Greenlaw also, they got a guy that they could just go find, They could just go find a scrub. As far who's their guy? Hufanga?
Hufunga's a safety, and I think they miss him a little bit because
they missing him.
They're missing him because, like I said, when you look at with what they're doing right now at their safety at the safety spot, and Mustafa, and he's a rookie and he's a good player. But he's a rookie. He's a rookie, and Jair Brown. I think he struggles. That's why I think they've had some problems. I think they've had some problems in the middle. They're missing one of their linebackers, and both their safeties are young guys, and one of them clearly can't cover. Now, Mustafa, he can cover. I think they've thrown 8 balls his direction. He's only given up 1 reception. But Brown on the other end, been a little bit of a different story over there. Just Dallas has got to be ready for, as much as they play a lot of zone, but Dallas has got to get ready for the physicality. Detroit made it a physical game for Dallas's receivers. The Saints made it a physical game. teams with lesser cornerbacks have made it a physical game on these receivers.
Yeah.
Dallas has got to find a way to get it done on the receiver end against these guys.
Yep.
If they don't, then, it's going to be a long, bad day and we'll all be pissed off and all that. Can I ask you one more question before we get out of here?
Please, Brian.
If this team, okay, the next two games, it's San Francisco and Atlanta. If they lose this game, that would make them 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Atlanta, they're 4-4. Say something like that happens. Would you feel, if you hadn't gotten blown out by the Saints and the Ravens and the Lions, you just lost those games, with the injuries that you're going through, would you feel better? Would you feel okay being 4-4? Or right now, do you feel like it's you're teetering on breaking with being 3-3 right now?
I think we had a lot of tough games early. And I think when this thing first came out, we were just kind of looking at the games or whatever. Mm-hmm. We were going, okay, yeah, I can kind of see us winning some of those games, losing some of those games. I feel like everybody felt that the early portion of our, season was going to be the toughest. But once we got past the Texans, I mean, there's Washington, Giants, Bengals are there.
Yeah, the Commanders are a whole different story right now. Yeah,
they are a different thing. I still feel like they haven't played a really good team yet, but
sure.
Like we'll see. But they are a much better team than we thought they were. Just like we thought the Bengals were going to be a much better team, but they're not right now. I just feel like once you get to this second portion of the season, that's where like some of your wins are gonna come from. But it's not the fact that we lost; it's the way that we lost, Brian. 100%.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was just wondering if 4-4, you would feel pretty good dealing with no Micah Parsons for games and no Tank Lawrence and no this, no that, no Bland. If you were dealing with all that and you were 4-4, you would probably feel like, what, we hung in there. We weathered the storm.
There's a lot of people.
The way your losses have come, has been completely disheartening.
There's a lot of people that thought you were going to lose to Baltimore, Detroit, and San Fran anyway. Right. But it's just like, man, when you get manhandled 3 times at home, and it's you shooting yourself in the foot. We look nothing like we did at the end of the season last year. And it's just you and these self-inflicting wounds, and you just feel like, man, if it's not even competitive, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? Even if you make the postseason. When we play good teams, we look horrible. So what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? Right.
Hey, Bryan Broaddus, man, this has been a sad little situation, man. But I tell you what, I know people get on me right now about being doom and gloom guy, and I'm really not trying to be. I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to be as honest as possible about what I see. And, like I said, I wish you could take advantage of the 49ers deficiencies. Maybe you will, but I haven't seen anything through 6 weeks that led me to believe that you can go and attack some of the struggles that maybe it'll change. Maybe this bye week maybe they figured something out. I hope so. I really do hope so. Mike McCarthy is going to go out there and run motion 70% of the time, and then we're going to run out there versus the Falcons, and we're going to never do it again, Brian. That's how we've been doing it, man. Hey, we love y'all to pieces. We thank y'all so much for tuning in. Tomorrow's Friday, and we got a bunch of questions. I'm going to get some for Brian. Brian's going to have some for me. But I also would like you guys to go into the comment section and leave some questions for us, and we'll probably read some of them tomorrow. All right? Love
Sounds
y'all
great,
pieces.
man. Yep.
VOCHLOMBARDIBRY getting Broaddus. Y'all be sure to tap in with us. We love y'all to pieces. We'll be looking at y'all 5 o'clock in the morning. Crown.